is Scuffed Up. Welcome to episode 45 here on the program today. We are a few days away from the start of the spring 2024 playoffs, and we're here to break it down all for you guys. Division 1, Division 2, Purple League. And of course, we still got the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game. We've also got Stephen Hayden, who's here with us. He's going to be breaking it down as well. And of course, as always, making predictions in terms of the playoffs and also the award winners. Stephen, how are you doing today, sir?
We're good over here. It's a great day for me. Now, if we're talking about these D1 World Series, I am 4 for 4 in my predictions since we started doing this podcast. So, I'm gonna try to make it 5 for 5 today, and we'll see what else happens. We just finished up regular season. Got baseball going on for me. I just got home from a long day and things are slowly starting to build up. Whether it be some fast pitch stuff, some other stuff, and obviously this will go pretty quickly, and then we'll start right away with the next season. So it should be a good time.
That is very right. Next season right around the corner, which is a great reminder for those of you who have not signed up yet. Early bird pricing does end on April 10th, this Wednesday, so make sure you sign up before then if you want to get that early bird pricing done, and make sure you sign up with your teams if you still want to sign up and get your entire season discounted. You can also find a bunch of people and start your own team as well. That is another way you can save some cash coming up this summer season, but it is right around the corner. Next week, as soon as the playoffs is over, we are kicking right into the summer season, going all the way through mid-January. We have some interesting things that will happen during that summer season. They're still in the works currently. Understandably, we know that the commissioner is also working towards another San Diego trip down there, like we did last year. If you want to check out that vlog that we did, go back. It's still there. It's a pretty nice video edited by ya boy, myself, and also featuring people like Stephen Hayden and, of course, most of the people from the LA Wolves of OC. But that was one of the most fun series that we have ever played, in my opinion, down there, especially being with those crowd, and then obviously enjoying some time at the San Diego Padres game.
Yeah, it was a great time down there. So I'm actually getting some more wiffle ball information as we speak, in terms of some other stuff. So
live updates.
That's going to be discussed with some internal people as we go along, but such as the likes of Justin Lee, Jordan Dressler, James Lee, things like that. So I got some things to discuss. I'm going to just get information right now as we start the podcast, but yeah, it was a fun time down there last year. The LA Wolves finally broke their Sand Series curse and won a game after going 0-3 the previous 2 times. That was fun in general. You get to be able to go down there, and we were able to play right near the beach. Wind was it was relatively windy out there, not horrible though. And then got to go down to that Padres game for that night. So it was a good day. It was a good day overall. You could see it a little bit of it on the vlog if you're interested in checking that out at all. So hopefully we get enough teams to do it again. We had 5 last time, so hopefully we're going to be able to do something similar to that if it works out with everyone's schedule.
That is right, and I know there was like 3 different dates that were being voted on. Obviously, we haven't had official word yet on when that's happening, so we shall see exactly when that is. But right now, we got to talk about the past and the present. We have to talk about Week 8 results before we can talk about who are the teams secured in the playoffs currently right now, and just to tell you where everybody kind of is in this moment. Obviously, one of the few things is that, when you talk about the playoffs, basically every single team is already in the playoffs in this case, except for the Purple League, I believe. So that's some different things happening this season. No teams are eliminated, so we don't need to say any thank yous or anything like hopefully you come back this next season, blah, 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 that type of stuff. So it's great to see that everybody at least gets a chance to win some kind of reward this season, and they get to have a chance at some playoff stuff. So that must be very nice for a lot of people who do invest their time and money into a league like this. But obviously, we are here for the fun of it, to play wiffle ball on a Tuesday night. So to everybody during the regular season, thank you very much for a great regular season, and let's break down everything we got for you guys.
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. All right, Week 8 results. Let's start on the day with the Trash Pandas versus Whoosh. Obviously, Trash Pandas are the number 1 seed, still holding it very tightly down the road. Whoosh is also in their own spot in Division Two standings. They were looking for a good win here this on this schedule. Very close indeed. I was actually surprised when I heard the results of this game. This final score 5-3. Trash Pandas just barely escaped with a win.
Yeah, very close game here. It was a game that Woosh really could have used to be able to pretty much secure themselves as that sixth seed. Very very interesting overall that the fact that this game was this close in general. I did hear Michael Haskell did add on a couple more home runs to his tally, putting them all the way up at 23, I believe it is. I'm gonna double check to make. Yep, 23. Put him at 23 on the year. And just looking at their home run numbers, it's absolutely ridiculous. But we'll talk about that more in just a second. But overall, relatively good game for Woosh for them to be that close versus a team with the Trash Pandas who have only lost one game the whole year. It's a great sign for Woosh. Despite not the win, sometimes there are you could take some good out of certain losses, and sometimes you can't take any good out of any losses. But this is one you could definitely take. Some good pitching there from Trash Panda. I mean from Woosh, and from Trash Pandas as well. But Woosh very close there, and it does kind of bring up the points, which we'll talk more about later. I'm just looking at these numbers for the Trash Pandas. Obviously, they finished as the one seed, and with this win, they finished 13-1. But just looking at their team and what all is going on here, you have Michael Haskell with 23 home runs, Ryan Swanson with 20 home runs, Blake Fitzgerald with 14 home runs, Mo Wright with 13 home runs, and Andrew Swanson with 10 home runs. So I mean, between the five of them, they've got 80 home runs on the season. It's quite ridiculous, and we'll talk about more about how many of these guys we think will be predicted for some awards or things like that. But overall, extremely great season for Trash Pandas. They had that one loss to the LA Wiffles, but other than that, they were perfect on the year and give themselves the one seed. We'll see how much that carries over into the playoffs.
Really so, and obviously this is one of the hottest teams going into the playoffs. Like you said, they obviously have some really good talent on this team. Doc, we're going to talk about some of those awards later on, which they obviously do have some potential award winners or already locked in award winners, so to speak. So they're kind of the ones to look out for. And obviously the storyline that we are also paying attention, like you said, was the Michael Haskell versus Tommy Hernandez home run lead thing here. So we'll kind of touch on that a little bit later because obviously Michael Haskell is able to take this home run lead within this game. I think he already did for a minute or so, but we'll touch back on that once we get to the LA Wiffles of OC game later down in the schedule. So,
well, going into week 8, they were both tied at 21, I believe. So, this was a good start for Michael Haskell. We'll have to see if that was enough.
Yeah, very true. Anyways, let's take a look at the other Wiffles team, the OC Wiffles of LA, who are playing their first game of 3 on the Week 8 schedule, taking on a very tough opponent in Beach City Bombers, who are also fighting to get some better seeding in terms of the playoffs. This was actually a very important game here for the standings in particular, with Beach City Bombers really overtaking the OC Wiffles of LA in this game, 13-4 in this first game for the OC Wiffles of LA.
Yeah, from my understanding in this game, it was the Beach City Bombers really got hot in one inning. I know James Lee was a little bit late there, but from what I saw, I think I heard something. They had a 9-run inning against the OC Wiffles at one point. I'm sure they wanted to. The Beach City Bombers wanted to get back at OC Wiffles for beating them earlier in the year, actually handing the Beach City Bombers their first loss of the year, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, interesting game here. We talk about how much this game would mean for the standings and things like that. As it would stand at this point right now, both teams are 8-3. Beach City Bombers would move ahead into the 3 seed at this current moment of the day due to run differential. So, and plus this was without Tyler Moore as well. Beach City Bombers were down to 3. It was Jordan, Will, and Charlie. So Charlie got some more innings out there, as did Jordan. But the OC Wiffles unfortunately not able to come up with a lot of offense here in this game, only scoring 4 runs, and but both teams still got 2 more games to go. So anything could happen with these standings. It's already happened, but we're talking about it as if it's still going on here.
That's right, and I mean, if you haven't seen what's happened so far, or if you just don't follow the OC Wiffles or the OC Wiffle Ball Instagram page, you may or may not have seen it, but we'll talk about it if you're just watching this for the first time later on in the program. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. We got Avocados versus Beach City Bombers. Obviously, we just talked about the Bombers taking that win against OC Wolves of LA. Avocados already out of that contention in terms of to try to get to basically sneak into the Division One playoffs here, because the Bombers got that win against OC Wolves of LA. They really needed a lot of help anyways. But Beach City Bombers still helped themselves and basically secured themselves in that third seed in the standings, with the Avocados losing to the Beach City Bombers 7-4 in this game.
Yeah, relatively close game overall here. As we talked about on the podcast, I think the two of the three games we highlighted the most were the one we just talked about and the one we're talking about right now. Very a closer game here between the Avocados and Beach City Bombers. Beach City Bombers not able to put up as many runs, but still able to only allow 4 runs to the Avocados. And with that would seal the Avocados in there as that 5 seed. They will be the 1 seed in the D2 playoffs, so I think they have a great shot to win that D2 playoffs. But we'll talk about that more as we go along here. We'll talk about that one later after we're done with these games and things like that. But both teams still got another game to go after this on the night. So I'll get into more detail about each team as we go along here. But relatively close game over. I didn't see a whole lot of this one, but wait, is this the game? I think this was the game. I think it was Charlie that hit the walk-off home run in this game, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
I could be wrong on that. I think Charlie did have a walk-off home run versus the Avocados. I'd have to double check with my sources, but I mean, extremely close game here, obviously. So it was tied going to the last inning because Beach City Bombers were the home team. So I think this was the game that they hit the walk-off. So
I mean,
that very close game here overall. What?
No, I was gonna say like that probably makes sense because you can't hit a walk off if you scored 13-4 in the previous game, and then they played a different one, but that was also a high scoring game, so that probably just makes sense if it's 7-4.
Yeah, I did remember seeing something about a walk off home run. So I'm not sure if it was a solo or if it was a grand slam. I mean, so I'm not sure if it's a 3-run homer or a grand slam, but. Either way, I mean, extremely close game for both teams, and I think both teams do have a good chance of having some success in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was also joking with Jordan when I saw him out there after this game. I was like, maybe you guys don't need Tyler, but in terms of the playoff content, I mean, obviously they would need Tyler to hold the team strong together. But it was kind of funny because the fact that they've already won 2 games against some really good teams, I was like, maybe you guys don't really need Tyler more there.
I mean, some people. I mean, maybe some people have thought the same thing in the past about a Zach Moore when the Beach City Bombers were doing well in the previous season or so. But I think it's been shown that they could use a guy like him there, whether it be for the bats or for the pitching. I think both are extremely useful. I believe he led their team in both batting average and on base percentage. I mean, they didn't quite have the number of at bats as compared to a Jordan Dressler or Will Contrell. Like Will Contrell had 135 at bats on the year, or plate appearances, I should say. But I mean, if Beach City Bombers are missing any guys from Monday, that's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, that would be extremely interesting, and obviously Tyler Moore, we know, is related to a pretty, not well famous, but like famous enough MLB player.
Wow.
I mean, do you consider Dylan Moore a famous MLB player though?
Keep going.
Okay, never mind. We'll move on then.
I'm not gonna fall for it.
Come on. We're making fun of the Morse here. It's okay. We're messing up his what is that, the transcripts or whatever. I mean, it's not like he listens to it anyway. He already told me he doesn't listen after that whole fiasco. Anyways,
well, that's on you.
I was messing with it, man. I don't know, man. You know, just if you're watching it, Tyler Moore. we would love to have you back on the show at some point. Anyways, let's move on to the next one, which is actually the first game of the day for the LA Wolves of OC, taking on the OC Juicers. The other storyline that you have to pay attention to is Nicholas Tone's walk record. In this game, Steven actually was absent for a part of the game, came in later.
I think the top of the first.
Top of the first, yeah. Started pitching some pretty good stuff. Unfortunately, LA Wolves of OC gave up a walk to Nicholas Tone, who tied the record, and then later on broke the record itself. So congratulations, Nicholas Tone, for not swinging at anything at all, and you have a new record for OC Wiffle Ball. And this game actually kind of got a little out of hand towards the end, too, because of the time constraints. Stevie could talk about that one all day. That was hilarious. But the final score here, 23-3.
Yeah, this game started off somewhat close, without Steven there. I was coming back straight from baseball. I just pitched 3 innings in baseball the day in the afternoon. I was driving straight there, and then I got caught up in talking to some old teammates of mine. And I got a little sidetracked, and I came in late. When I showed up, it was already 3-0, and those are the only 3 runs we gave up, though. So as it turns out, once I got out there, things were all good. But the offense for the LA Wolves was going good. Tommy at this point, he needed 3 home runs to be able to take that home run lead. And actually, surprisingly, he only got 1 home run in this game. He's got another game to be able to break it, but only had 1 home run here. But as you mentioned, Nicholas Tone did get that walk record. If you want to consider that a record, I mean there are some seasons that have been 11 games or 12 games or something. So things vary for each season in terms of how many games you play and how many plate appearances you get, things like that. But he did finish with a 46.5% walk percentage on the year. So he nearly walked in half of his at-bats, which it does lead to a 617 on-base percentage in the league, which is not even the top in the league, to be quite honest. There are a few people above him. Lucas Sardo had a 619. You had James Lee had a 649, and who was the other one? Actually, that's it. Not even Michael Haskell had a higher one. Michael Haskell had a 612 compared to that 617. But overall, there was some different stuff going on here. Justin Lee and Tommy Hernandez getting some more innings in on the mound, and at the end was very funny in general because we were trying to speed things up. So we literally were just swinging at the first pitch in the last inning and just kept getting single after single. And sometimes some guys would even go lefty and try and swing on the first pitch and would still get singles. So that was just one of those nights for the LA Wiffles. Having a good night and being able to move themselves onto the next game and also get themselves an important win in terms of the standings.
That's right. And if they wanted to hold themselves in that second seed, this is also a game that they needed to win, especially when we talk about this next game. Even though we've already talked about the results of the other ones, it was kind of important in terms of head-to-head in the standings, but I should also mention that Nicholas Tone, unfortunately, nearly got to 100 strikeouts, but ends the season with 99 in this game. So he missed out on the triple-digit strikeout count for the season. So fortunately, that didn't work out. But yeah, it was kind of funny towards the end with Tommy Hernandez hitting righty and then hitting a single oppo field, and then Dominic Corona hitting lefty, and then I think I switched like the last second and hit it lefty single, and then it just kind of went like everywhere after that. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was interesting. There was some pressure for us to hurry up, but we were out there. We were having fun, so we were enjoying ourselves and just having a good time.
Yes, indeed, having fun indeed, and let's talk about the next game, which is another fun one as well. The OC Wiffles of LA taking on Woosh, who obviously we talked about that close game against the Trash Pandas earlier in that 5-3 score. Woosh unable to get it done as well in this one against the OC Wiffles of LA, who get an important win for themselves, beating out Woosh 14-5. This being the second game of the triple header schedule that they have for the day. So LA Wolves of OC getting themselves a pretty important win here as well.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted a chance at that 3 seed, they definitely for sure needed this game, and were able to get it. It's interesting to see. It just didn't seem like it was quite the game Woosh wanted here. Obviously, they had that close game with Trash Pandas in the first game, but unfortunately gave us some extra runs to the OC Wiffles. But Woosh, with that, they do finish the season off at three. Well, actually, they got another game later. We'll talk about them more later, but as do OC Wiffles. But for each team, it's a win here would have been good for some standing stuff. Woosh are pretty much. I mean, they're already set in D2. A win would have pretty much guaranteed them a spot, the sixth spot. But alas, they could not get it in here. But they do have one more opportunity to play later, which we'll talk about later on. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that later, as I've said for the fifth time in a row.
Yeah, we will. Get into that in just a moment. Beach City Bombers take on Pitches Gone Wild. Pitches Gone Wild, they've been absent for 2 weeks, but they were able to make it out to this Week 8 game against the Beach City Bombers. Unfortunately, against a really good team, who obviously we talked about plenty of times today, lighting up the board, getting tons of runs without Tyler Moore in this triple header day that they've had. So and they finished the season off strong here, 19-0, a big shutout win here for the Beach City Bombers, essentially securing themselves in that third seeded spot. And Pitchers Gone Wild, obviously they weren't able to get a single win this season, but they do have a chance in the playoffs to at least become a really interesting underdog if they can make something magic happen.
Yeah, Pitchers Gone Wild, was in part also with the days they had missed. I mean, I think they missed 4 games or 5 games. If they were there, who knows what may have happened? But hopefully, the Pitchers Gone Wild are still enjoying it. Hopefully, they're not getting down too much on each other because playoff time, you never know what may happen. So, as for the Beach City Bombers, I started seeing this more with as you check out their run differential and stuff. They're a team that wins big and loses close, which is a relatively good thing to have for a team. When I think about their losses, think about like one game they lost 3-1, like they would lose like 12-8, 8-6, and 7-4, and things like that. So they lose relatively close, but then you have games like tonight you win 13-4. You had a close win. You had a close one when was needed in a 7-4 win. But they had a couple of victories the previous week in which they were winning big. And obviously, this one was extremely big with a 19-0 victory, helping pad the stats a little bit. But looking at Beach City, they do have some people in contention for some awards. Jordan Dresser had another great pitching season for himself. 33 and 2/3 innings pitched, 6 runs allowed on the year, with 81 strikeouts. Could put him potentially in some Cy Young candidacy. As for the hitting, Jordan Dresser had a 467 average. Tyler Moore had a 474 average. Both of them had OPB over 560. Jordan himself with 17 home runs. Will Control with 16, and Tyler Moore with 11. So this team did secure their place as the 3 seed after these 3 wins, and with the LA Wiffles of OC winning their first game, they basically secured that 2 seed. So we'll see these 2 teams play off. We'll talk about that more later. But Beach City Bombers are in a very good spot right now. We'll see what happens as we continue on through the playoffs. As for Pitchers Gone Wild, they do sit as the AC right now. We'll have to take on the Avocabros in that first round of the D2 playoffs. You never know what's going to happen out here. People could be missing, or all of a sudden Pitchers Gone Wild could just turn it up, and we'll see what happens as we get into these playoffs. But we'll talk more about that later.
Yep, we will indeed, and we're getting close there. Got 2 more games to talk about here. Let's talk about the game between the LOs of OC and the OC Wiffles of LA. We saw this matchup last week, obviously in person as well. That was a very close game indeed. I was expecting another close one here as well, but the LA OC jumped a few times in the early goings of this game. Then OC Wiffles of LA started sneaking up a little bit in this game, but just weren't able to get it done. It's also a tough task for a team, especially when you talk about the amount of games that they had today, and obviously I believe James Lee also was doing some pitching earlier in the day, so his arm was basically tired at this point. We know Curaz also pitched a few innings as well, but Elios of OC get the win here, 15-8, and secure themselves in the second seed.
Yeah, so I mean, with this game, that officially puts LA Whistles in the second seed and OC Whistles in that fourth seed. I was kind of hoping we'd play each other. To be quite honest, I would want to. I think it would be hilarious if you had D1 playoffs and you had my two teams playing against each other. I think that would just be extremely funny. But based off that Beach City Bombers and OC Whistles result, kind of sealed things in terms of that three seeds. So. Offense got started quickly for the LA Wiffles. Had some walks early. I know obviously James and Steven had both been pitching earlier in baseball. However, Steven did not have to. Only had to pitch one inning in this first game, whereas James had been pitching for probably 6-7 innings before this game. So Steven had some more rest and was dealing out there on the mound. James was doing extremely well as well, but that second inning he did struggle with 4 walks. David Kuros got brought in, and unfortunately some runs were let up. And as we got on here, the game got separated a little bit more. OC Wiffles did try to make a run back at it in the fourth inning. I had Tommy Hernandez and Justin Lee with some struggles on the mound, but at the end of the day, LA Wiffles was able to come out with it and able to come out with an 11-3 record, which is extremely impressive given the fact that you're losing guys like Dustin Staggs and Jordan Drushler. Still able to find a way to get in the second place while still trying to develop a clear second pitcher is quite impressive in my opinion. Looking at some potential stuff we'll talk about later. Tommy did hit 2 home runs in this game, so he did take over that home run lead, finished the season off with 24 home runs on the year. Quite impressive for a guy in his first year in this league and adjusting to this style of play. He also had a 500 average, a 573 on base percentage. He had Steven with a 473 average and a 607 on base percentage. One of the higher ones that was just below Nicholas Tones' 617. Even had Justin Lee and Dominic with averages over 350, and on Justin with on base percentage just under 500, and Dominic with just over 500. So I think some of these guys could potentially be in for some awards. I think Tommy's going to win an award no matter what based off his home run total and his average. I believe he finished second in the league in average. He was only one of 2 people to hit a 500 or above, as was Michael Haskup. Pitching-wise, Steven may be in there for an award, but there are some other guys who are in there, so I'm not sure if he would be a finalist for that. But it could be in there for Manager of the Year. We'll see. We'll talk more about that later. And as we get to the OC Wiffles, they obviously had a great season. They got an MVP candidate here in James Lee. David Kuros as a potential relief pitcher of the year award winner. So we'll see what happens for these teams as we finish off. But unfortunately, not the way the OC Wiffles wanted to finish off the season with 2 losses, I'm sure.
Well, they do have a chance to go get some revenge. Obviously, if they can get past the Trash Pandas, who are obviously really hot right now. But we'll give you those predictions in just a moment. So I'm gonna hold my opinion there. That's where we'll stay, so people can stay tuned. But in terms of my thoughts of the LA Whistles of OC Whistles of LA game, you talked about, how this team was going to do this season in terms of losing guys like Jordan, you said, and Dustin Staggs. It's really been picked up by, Tommy Hernandez. You talked about the number of home runs that he had this season. Congratulations, obviously, to getting the lead there, almost halfway to the 50 home run club already. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe he could try to do it when he comes back for the summer season or in the fall season. Yeah, who knows? That'd be crazy. And also the pitching wise, even if it's not Tommy not doing so great on the mound, I know myself, I've tried to clean it up after him a few times. I know he's also cleaned it up for me a few times when the bases got jammed. So, that complimentary, ability to have Justin and Tommy. Obviously they haven't been consistently back-to-back innings for the most part. Obviously Tommy has better stats pitch-wise, so just obviously figuring out that second pitcher, it's really kind of just been the second pitcher between myself and Tommy, just trying to figure it out for the most part and trying to find that consistency. So that is why this makes this playoffs more interesting, because it's that question factor. I think every single team that's in the playoffs right now has kind of a question factor about them. Like, there's a reason why they may lose, there's a reason why they're gonna win games. So once we get to those predictions, I think it'll bring a lot of attention to what we're thinking of in terms of what these teams would look like, basically.
Yeah, we'll get more into it as we get on there, but yeah, both these teams are going to be interesting looks into the playoffs.
Yes, indeed. Let's talk about the final game of the day before we get to our predictions. We've got Whoosh, their final game of the season, taking on the Avocabros. This is also kind of a glimpse of what the playoffs may look like for Division 2. But the Avocabros come away here with the win to finish off the season. In 2024 spring season, they get the win 17-8 over the team in Whoosh. So Avocabros secure themselves in the first seed of the Division 2 playoffs, and Whoosh put themselves in that second spot as well.
Yeah, Avocabros were already set there after that Beach City game. But Whoosh had a chance to be the clear 6th seed versus OC Juicers. Both OC Juicers and Whoosh did finish as that at 3-11. However, I believe Whoosh has the run differential, and I believe it's just the run differential is the main one that they have over them, because they both beat each other once and they both beat Pitches Gone Wild twice. It would be based off the run differential. So overall, this could be a D2 World Series matchup that we see right here. Avocabro is able to get the bats going well, which is going to be big for them going into the playoffs. Being able to play the Pitches Gone Wild could be a very good thing for the Avocabros. They could be able to get the bats going and potentially carry themselves to a World Series. Whoosh and OC Juicers is going to be an interesting series as well. It's going to be overall, it's just going to be very interesting to see how this finishes up. But in general, just Avocabros just able to get on the board early and often, and Whoosh able to put some runs up. They kept putting more and more runs up through each game, but unfortunately they kept letting up more and more runs each game. That caused them to lose this game and the rest of their games this week.
Yes, indeed. That is very sure. And that will basically do it for the spring 2024 regular season. And we can overview what those playoff seedings look like and what they are there for sure. But obviously, again, thank you to everybody for this season. And obviously, we had a lot of fun. We got a lot of mix-up here in terms of the standings. Every team obviously gets a chance to play some of those games as well. But here we are in the part of the program now where we get to talk about those final standings and who are the matchups for each division. So let's go over that right now, right here. So to start off things in terms of playoffs, we'll touch on the Purple League, who basically will play on Tuesday, correct? And then it will come down to the Pancake Batters and the Beach City Babes in that World Series, just the World Series for the Purple League. So they'll play on Tuesday. So we won't see them on Monday. But for Division 2, we talked about it earlier. Avocabros taking on Pitches Gone Wild for the first series, and then Whoosh versus OC Juicers in the other series that is happening. And then obviously whoever wins those ones go to the World Series on Tuesday. And then finally Division 1, LA Wolves of OC taking on the Beach City Bombers. And then the other series will be the Trash Pandas versus OC Wiffles of LA for the World Series. That's basically what they will look like right now. There are some talks about some potential schedule changes / issues presented from a couple of the teams because of just the way how some people have some conflicting, school things happening. Obviously, we're still in the middle of school season, so understandably, some people have some
season.
Yeah, school season, right?
Oh my God.
So obviously some people will have some issues. So we'll obviously just keep an eye out for the emails or the OC Wiffle page, or listen if you're on a team that's participating in Division One playoffs. Just keep an eye out for some messages from your captains. Obviously they'll keep updated on that. But I don't know, Steven, do you have any extra details you want to add to that, or in terms of just the standings overall as well?
Well, yeah, I'll start off with what you finished up with. I mean, basically, OC Wolfels will be missing James Lee and Ethan Lee. I believe there was putting a different one. It was about missing Ethan Raffman. It's actually Ethan Lee. There's both of them are gone on Mondays due to school and work and other things like that. So they're trying to possibly reschedule some stuff. So and also if Beach City Bombers end up making it to the World Series, the World Series will have to be rescheduled anyways due to the fact that Beach City Bombers they'll play the Purple League World Series on Tuesday. So that's just one of the things to work around if that's the case for a team that's in the Purple League and in D1, such as Beach City is. But overall interesting finish to this season. Relatively what I thought it would be. The only one I had was Beach City and OC Wiffles switched. I thought OC Wiffles would finish in the 3 seed, but alas, here we are.
Yeah, here we are indeed. Obviously, you talked about you being, what was it, 4-0 in terms of predicting the playoffs and whatnot.
Well, D1 at least, like the main one at least. I did in
Uh,
2023. I predicted. Well, the spring and summer there was no divisions, so it was the overall World Series winner. When we did our predictions, I got them right, and then the fall I got both and the fall and winter I got both the D1 World Series winners correct.
there you go. Okay. Well, let me go reverse a little bit back to the previous season. Obviously, the winners for last season's Winter 2023 playoffs. You've got Whoosh winning Division 2, Eliwus of OC winning Division 1, and Purple League, I want to say it was Beach City, right?
It was, yeah. Beach City Babes won in 3 games over the Glizzy Gladiators.
That's right. Our favorite
Hopefully, we'll
guy
see them
is,
back.
yeah, our favorite guy is Joey Ponder. We miss him very much so, and also Kyle Froome and all the crew. Obviously, they were coming out with a lot of great content, and
And a
hopefully,
lot more hot dogs for you.
yeah, and the cookouts too. So
Yeah, actually, you should know how Joey's doing. He's been living rent free in your head.
we're still doing this
Yep. Well, I mean, he's still there, so.
someday when Joey decides to play in Division 1 again, I'll get him. But that's to be seen in the foreseeable future. That depends on whether they're gonna make a return or not. I'm sure they will, because they obviously have an investment here. They were very
And in
close
those
to.
jerseys.
Yeah, they did the jerseys, which was very pricey, and then obviously, they've been in the league for a while. A lot of those guys, and I'm sure they want to make some more content. And hopefully we get them back. But enough reminiscing about the past. Let's go into the predictions. What do you want to do? You want to flip a coin, or do you want to just go straight into it?
Let's just. I don't fully understand that question, but let's just
I
go.
mean, like,
Let's just go.
who you want to go first, me or you?
Yeah. I'll start it off here. We'll start off with the Purple League here. As mentioned, we just have the World Series here. We'll have the Pancake Batters taking on the Beach City Babes. Both these teams finished up 7-3 on the season. Beach City Babes do end up being the 1 seed here, as each team played each other 5 times, and Pancake Batters did lose all 3 of their games to the Beach City Babes. So, in terms of head-to-head, Beach City Babes wins on the head-to-head, so they'll be the 1 seed here. I'm going to predict another different winner to win the Purple League. There's never been a repeat winner of the Purple League, so for me, I'm picking the Pancake Batters to win this one, probably in 3 games. We saw a matchup like this in the previous season where it was relatively close until near the end. I think it ended up being 12-5 in the excuse me, in that 2-3 matchup. And Beach City Babes, obviously, at the time they were Beach City Dingers, but they led themselves on to the winning that World Series versus the Glizzy Gladiators. But both these teams played each other very well, very close. Uh, I think at the end of the day, Pancake Batters is going to find a way to be able to come out with that Purple League Series, giving them their first one and holding off the Beach City Babes. So that's my opinion in 3 games for Pancake Batters.
Okay, okay, I like it. Um, the interesting thing about the Purple League is obviously the Beach City Babes. Um, you know them as the Beach City Bombers as well. A lot of those players like uh, Troy Phillips, Tyler Moore, Will Contrell, who are on the Beach City Bombers. So depending on what happens in terms of Division One and where they fall in, if they make it to the World Series, and if they also well, I mean, they're obviously in the Purple League World Series, they're gonna have maybe some scheduling issues. So I think that's what also is playing into what we're talking about in terms of the schedule issues, if I'm correct.
Well, I mean, this is going to happen on Tuesday, no matter what happens with D1.
Okay.
D1 is a possibility; it could be moved to a weekend or something like that. We will see and find out. I mean, if it's an issue at all with this at first. I mean, each of the Bombers do have to go through the LOC, so we'll see if that's what happens there.
Yeah, definitely. The thing about these two teams, things have been kind of close between the two of these squads this season. Obviously, the Sheeps have got the Big Bat and, or I'm sorry, the Pancake Batters. What am I talking about? The wrong team.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, the big man of Chad Friends, let's go with that because obviously he's hitting a high number of 15 home runs. Tyler Moore's also got a high number of 15 as well, so both of them are tied for the Purple League lead in regular season home runs in that department. You picked the Pancake Batters. You know what? I like repeats. Let's go with the repeat guys, the Beach City Babes. I'm going to say as, as close as it's been, 3 games. 3 games indeed. It will probably be the Beach City Babes for sure.
Yeah, it only seems right that it would be 3 games. So we'll see if that's the case. But I think this will be a very good series nonetheless in terms of in terms of a Purple League World Series. So every Purple League World Series has gone to 3 games so far. So as we predict, we're going to continue on that tradition.
Yeah, and they're also very entertaining. You know, we see buckets get destroyed. We've seen a lot of action between two teams. You know, obviously the Glizzy Gladiators almost made a big victory, made it close all the way down, and then obviously the Beach City Babes took the victory. We didn't hear the news till the day after, so it was kind of crazy just to hear all that. But anyways, that is our locked picks for the Purple League. Moving on to the Division 2 playoffs. Let's start off with the Avocabros versus Pitches Gone Wild on Monday. I'll start off since I talked about the Purple League second. I'll pick this first game. Avocabros obviously are coming off of a huge win against Whoosh. Pitches Gone Wild, they do have some good potential. I like the March Madness underdog type of theme here. You know, obviously they haven't had too much success this season, but they do have the ability to do some damage in the playoffs here. The only 2 players with above 300 or at 300 batting average is Zachary Kane and Dylan Pudding Sorrow. I believe I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm saying it wrong.
Who knows?
6 home runs as well this season. But the pitching for the Avocados, they have more experience, in my opinion, there. So I have a feeling that the Avocados are maybe just going to be a little too much, just because they have firsthand experience in Division 1 as well because of their history. They still have Lucas Sardo, who's playing really good, as always, as he should be, because he's a captain. He's been their leader for the most part. Nick Futris, who we talked about a few times in the podcast, who was leading the team in home runs, kind of fell off a little bit. But he's got some hidden potential in there to go off in the playoffs, so why not? But I believe the Avocados are definitely going to take this series in 2 games. and set themselves up into the Division Two World Series here. What are your thoughts about this?
I almost fell asleep while you were talking, but
Hey, I'm not saying scenarios here. Come on.
I thought about going back there and pulling the pillow out there, but I do have the same result as well. Um, with pitchers going wild, missing I believe 4 or 5 of their games earlier in the season. I think a little bit of that of the practice and chemistry that went away. Especially, they just lost 19-0 to the Beach City. So I do think Avocados are gonna. It's interesting. We've seen the Avocados. They've obviously been around here for over 4 seasons, I believe. But this would be their first as a team. This would be their first playoff win if they weren't able to pull this off, which I think they will. I think they will win in 2 games. So I got them winning their first ever playoff games and moving on to the D2 World Series. This team has been to the playoffs once before. The Avocados have. Back in the summer season, they ended up finishing as the 5 seed and had to take on the MS Warriors without Dylan Hoffman and Kyle Fromm at the time. So, however, they did lose that game. So, looking at a chance for redemption, D2 looks like based off what we got them moving on into the D2 World Series.
All right. Well, we got the Avocados securing themselves into the Division Two World Series. The other series, Whoosh versus the OC Juicers here. Obviously, the Whoosh, like we said, was the winners of the Division Two playoffs last season, all the way through 3 games in that World Series. And it was a huge one for them. It's nice to see another elusive OC related team get to the playoffs and win another title. So Steven's investment worked out last season, which is great to hear.
Always.
Always indeed.
I need my extra a little extra plug. I need like a little one of those like tiny mini bats to celebrate the elusive C team.
Like a little keychain.
Yeah, the Wolves of LA.
The Wiffles of LA. Okay. Um, that would be a nice keychain. Maybe you can talk to the commissioner about that later. Anyways, let's talk about this pick in particular. I feel like the only way the OC Juicers would be able to have a good chance here is obviously if Joel Gonzalez shows up, because he's probably been the best hitting player on their team. 463 batting average, 15 home runs. Guy's been a beast since he entered the league. Obviously got some Rookie of the Year recognition for last season. Guy also pitches. If Nick Tone doesn't swing at stuff, that could be another variable that could help them.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a record for the amount of walks in the playoffs. Obviously, we don't keep track of stats in the playoffs as well, which would have been nice. But here we are. Anyways, I'm completely going on a tangent here, but I feel like this actually could go a little closer than a lot of people would think it would, especially with Whoosh here. Some of their guys have also been kind of spotty in their attendance wise. I know Ryan Miller's missed a few games. I know a few guys like Donald has missed a few games. Anthony's pretty much been the most consistent, including Mike Siegler, I think that's right. And Brian Kelly have been kind of the most consistent guys that have shown out there. But they have enough power to compete with a team like the OC Juicers. But I think I'm thinking this might be a lot closer than a lot of people are imagining. So I imagine Whoosh take this one in 3 games. Probably going to finish out very close in that 3rd game, and then they're going to move on to take on the Avocados in the World Series.
Yeah, you talked about with Whoosh, whether some guys are spotty, whether they're there or not. One guy that is always there, unless notified by others, is Anthony Agrusa. And looking at the stats, Anthony has not had a bad season by any stretch of the imagination. Not his best pitching numbers. I know he's had better pitching numbers in the past. Has a 9.53 ERA on the season, 34 innings pitched with 42 strikeouts. But hitting, he's not had a bad season at all. He has improved from some of his past seasons. 418 average, 556 on base percentage, 17 home runs on the year. No, sorry, 7 home runs on the year. So a little down in the power numbers, but focusing more on just getting on base with those 12 singles and 3 doubles and 1 triple. So, however, OC Juicers do have guys like Nicholas Tone and Joel Gonzalez. That make things very, very interesting. If Joel Gonzalez can really get things going on the mound, they can be very dangerous. That's a team that almost just beat the Trash Pandas in Week 7. In Week 6, Week 6, yeah, Week 6, with Joel Gonzalez hitting like 4 home runs off of the Trash Pandas. So, if I'll get a little caveat, if both Joel and Nick Gonzalez and if both Joel and Nick are there, I believe the OC Juicers will beat Whoosh in 2 or 3 games. I think it's going to be a very tight series overall. These teams did beat each other one time through the regular season. I believe the first time these two teams played each other, the OC Juicers beat Whoosh, and I believe it was a shutout as well. I'm trying to make sure, but then the most recent time that they've played, it ended up going in favor of Whoosh. I'm trying to post up some scores while I keep filibustering here, but I think this will be a close series in general. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. So you talk for a little bit while I try to find these scores.
Sure. You picked Whoosh, correct?
No.
Oh, you picked Juicers. Whoa.
Are you not paying attention?
No, I was just making sure. I just want to make sure I got this right.
Yeah. The first time these two teams played each other, it was OC Juicers' first win of the season. They were in last place at the time. They won 6-0 versus Whoosh, and then the second time they played each other, I'm trying to look it up right now. Not in week 4. I believe it was I think it was week 5 they played each other again. Yes, it was. It ended up being 9-2 in favor of Whoosh, and that was in week 5. So, not sure if anyone was missing for either one of those dates, but going to be interesting to see what happens when we get to the playoffs. But in case you weren't listening at home, because Justin wasn't, I picked if Nick and Joel are there, I'm going to pick the OC Juicers to win 2 or 3 games at either one, but I'm picking the OC Juicers to win it if both those guys are there.
Okay. Yeah, I was just making sure because I wanted to make sure I wasn't hearing things because I know you just didn't call out your other team. So I was just making sure. So you'll have the OC Juicers taking on the Avocabros. I have the Avocabros taking on Whoosh in the World Series. Those would be our predictions. And let's go ahead and pick the World Series winners. Why not? Like you said, you mentioned the inconsistent attendance of Whoosh there. I picked them to get in here after 3 games or whatnot. To go against the Avocabros, who've also been, we talked about that Division I firsthand experience is important because you get to play against some of the best teams, so you know exactly what you're looking for. Whoosh has got some good talent on there. It'll probably come down yet again to another close series between these two teams. I really imagine this becomes a hitting game rather than a pitching game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is probably going to be some really high-scoring games. It's probably going to be a fight between Lucas Sardo and Anthony Grusa on the mound between these two teams. And we've seen the run differentials for both of these teams. They can get up there in those numbers. But you know what? I'm going to count against the recent winners of the Division II World Series, and I'm going to go with the Avocabros to get their first World Series title, the first of their franchise in history, and they get to go celebrate with some beers and eat some avocados.
Yeah, but maybe get them back on the podcast as well. We'll see.
Yeah, get some Lucas Sardo guest stuff on here. If you haven't seen an episode, he's very funny.
Yeah. So how many games you got that one going?
All 3.
You didn't say.
All 3.
It's all 3. So Tuesday is going to be a busy night for those teams, in your opinion.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to just cut right to it. I'm also picking the Avocabros to win. I've got it in 2 games over the OC Juicers. I think the bats of the Avocados are gonna be able to hit Joel and Nick very well. Do just enough to be able to get a good lead over Nick, and then pitching. Pitching wise, Avocados have improved as the year has gone on, but I think their offense is still just going to be enough to be able to carry them through. I don't know their final run difference right now because the week 8 standings aren't fully updated, so I don't have the full runs for and runs against for the Avocados. But yeah, I think they're going to come away with their first ever World Series, win a D2 World Series, and we'll see what happens with them. It was interesting. I thought I had heard at first that they weren't going to be back for this season due to people being unavailable and things like that. But here we both are, predicting them both to make it to the World Series and win the World Series.
Yeah, which is really great because I know we were mentioning, the fact that they would be not be able to come back or whatnot, and then it kind of became a surprise when they were able to come back, and it's nice because those group of guys are very fun to play with. I know they've been wanting to get a title for a long time, so the both of us picking that team to go get a title out there speaks a lot to the amount of improvement that they've had, and now they have a chance to go get themselves their first title in franchise history in Division Two, obviously. So that'll definitely will help them, and obviously we hope to see every single one of their players out there representing for the Avocados. So your Division Two winners, as predicted, the Avocados for both of us.
Yeah, a title is a title.
Title is a title. That is true. An OC Wiffle Ball All-Star Game MVP is a title. Don't need to ask me what the background of that was.
We weren't talking about that.
A title's a title.
Later on, all right, bud.
A title's a title. Anyways, let's
later on.
Yeah, that is true. We'll go over that stuff later on in the program. Anyways, Division 1 now. This is the big one, obviously, here for OC Wiffle Ball. We talked about it, Trash Pandas and OC Wiffles of LA, and then LA Wiffles of OC taking on Beach City Bombers. Let's go over the first series here. Trash Pandas taking on OC Wiff. Obviously, they're going to be OC Wiffs are taking on the #1 seed in Trash Pandas, who have been lights out on offense. Pitching-wise, also been very, very good on that side of things as well. We talked about the fact that, Ethan and James Lee won't be there on Monday. We'll see what happens with the scheduling. But if they are there on Tuesday, that gives them a better chance against a team like this. I could imagine it being extremely competitive, but I feel like the pitching for the OC Wiffles of LA are gonna have to be as consistent as they have ever been. David Kuros is gonna have to step up and become an X factor in this game. I could say maybe the first couple games would be close, but I feel like the Trash Pandas are kind of on a killing this season, like they have been the last 2 seasons. They're hungry for a World Series title. They've kind of missed on the fall season and the winter season of last year, so they're fighting. They're fighting for that title. So I imagine Trash Pandas will win this one. Unfortunately, I'm picking against my brother here, and they're gonna move on to the World Series in 3 games. 3 games.
Huh. Interesting. So you are picking the OC Wolves to win a game. We'll see when this series happens. If it happens Monday, there'll be no James Lee and Ethan Lee. I think that would kind of seal the deal, but it'd be interesting to see if they are there, what happens. So these 2 teams did play each other twice, as all the Orange League teams played each other twice. This was the very first game of the year for both these teams. The Trash Pandas took that one 12-1. And then they met each other in week 3 as well, and that one was a 8-5 victory in favor of the Trash Pandas. That's a little closer game, but the story from of this matchup has been that first inning. In both those first, I believe in the first inning of the first game, the Trash Pandas came out right away and scored 7 runs in a 12-1 game, and then in that 8-5 game, I think they scored something like 5 runs in the first inning. So, if the OC Wiffles can be able to hold them off in that first inning, that could really give them a good chance, because OC Wiffles have had some success against them in terms of getting on base and getting some runs in and things like that, especially that second game. And there was one point of the season where OC Wiffles were the 2nd seed, and they were 7-2 at one point. and their only two losses were to the Trash Pandas. So, well, much as you said, I do believe the Trash Pandas will come away with this one. I think they're on a mission this season. I think OC Wolves have had a great season, but I think it's going to just not be enough to come away with a serious victory. Although I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen if James and Ethan Lee are there. I will predict it as if they're not going to be there. I've got the Trash Pandas defeating the OC Wiffles.
Okay, so we both got the Trash Pandas moving on here to the World Series, making their third appearance in a row in the World Series. Let's talk about the LA Wolves of OC taking on Beach City Bombers. Obviously, LA Wolves of OC are facing up against their former teammate in Jordan Drexler, who's also been on a killing this season in terms of the pitching side. Batting, maybe not so much, but the pitching has been the highlight of their season. There is potential callings here for awards in terms of the Cy Young race here for a guy like Jordan Drexler, whose ERA is ridiculous right now. Obviously, right now at the 107 mark, he's got 81 strikeouts this season. Maybe not as much innings as a lot of other guys like James Lee, that's 49, Stephen Hayden, who's got 41, and then Blake Fitzgerald, who's got 43.6 there. Earlier, the LA Wolves of OC played against the Beach City Bombers, lost that one, correct, and then won the second one against the team like this. So, kind of a back and forth affair here. I think it just kind of comes down to whether myself or Tommy Hernandez can get activated on the pitching, get a good warm up beforehand, and kind of start getting into high gear. And it also kind of matters whether Tyler Moore is also going to have a good day as well on the mound. But I do imagine, because in the Lions game, Tommy actually did kind of struggle against Jordan Drexler in that game until they switched out the pitchers there. So I think it's going to have to be coming down to optimistic hitting for both teams actually, because I kind of see this as like a game that will probably be very close, low scoring in some regards. But definitely, I think this will definitely go to 3 games because of the circumstances that are here, the grounds that have been laid out between these two teams. Going to be a very competitive one for both of these squads. So I imagine this would be coming down to the very wire. But I'm conflicted here because I mean, do I pick against my team or do I pick the other guys? Because I feel like they also have a very good chance of making it through here. But you know what? I am going with the LA Wolves of OC here, making their yet again another World Series appearance in this Division One playoffs here, getting away past Beach City Bombers. But the caveat here, I believe it's going to be right down to the wire, very close game, all the way through 3.
That doesn't sound like a caveat. That just sounds like that's what you think's going to happen. The caveat is like, yeah, if someone's not there or something, or someone gets hurt or something, and then I'll pick it this way. But
well, I mean, I guess the caveat would
like
just
trying
be
to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, I guess that. Okay, so I was mistaken. So I guess the caveat here would just be, if the LA Wolves of OC can, be opportunistic with their second pitcher, whoever that may be, and then if the Beach City Bombers. Their caveat would be if Tyler Moore decides to have a great day, because obviously they're going to need somebody who's consistent, who's going to need to be consistent.
He decides to have a great day?
Yeah, decides to have a great day,
yeah, because that's just really easy to choose, isn't it?
Right. You mentioned it, the flow state.
Only you could do that.
The flow state is what matters, so here we go. What? Wow, all right.
Sorry, that was too easy. That was right there for me.
It's messed up, man. I should just blow it. I should just blow our games on Monday.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No, that was my brother, okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ethan.
Yeah, this one I think is easily the most interesting semifinals matchup. I think that Woosh OC Juices one is interesting as well. However, in terms of a guaranteed playoff series we get to see, this one's going to be very interesting. These two played each other. They played each other week 1. Jordan's first appearance as a Beach City Bombers member going against the LA Wolves. They end up winning 7-1. However, there was no Tommy Hernandez there. And then the second time these guys played each other, it was going to be at the Sand Series. However, Beach City had some guys unavailable that day, so we rescheduled it. Ended up doing it at a park in Fullerton. I called it the Lions game. And LA Wolves of OC did end up winning that one 7-4. Well, it could have been 7-1. We talked about that already on the previous podcast where we had this game, but ended up being 7-4. So both games have been relatively close. They haven't been too far off. This one's really tough to kind of figure out and decide. This may be the this is almost giving off like LA Wolves versus plastic pitches blue back in the day. In terms of the kind of action we could see, the amount of great pitching we have on both sides. You have Tyler Moore and Jordan Drescher on one side. You have Stephen Hayden on the other, as well with some mix-ins there from Tommy and Justin when they're able to get it. So this is extremely interesting. This is very tough for me as well. Obviously, I very much helped Jordan to the pitcher. I gave him some pointers. I showed him some stuff, and so I have a good idea of some stuff. I did give up his first home run, his first run as a Beach City Bomber. I had a bomb off of him back in week 1, but this one's extremely tough for me. Beach City struggled a little bit more than I thought they would. And they did still finish 10-4, but there was at one point they were 4-0, 5-0, and I just thought they were unstoppable at that point. However, they then lost both games to Trash Pandas. They lost to LA Wolves once, and they lost to OC Wolves once as well. So that kind of brought them down back to earth a little bit, in my opinion. But man, I have no clue where to go with this game. I'm kind of stuck right now. It's like I don't know what I'm not even sure what my heart or my head is telling me in this series. I think my head is slightly telling me Beach City Bombers based off of the questionability of that second pitcher for the LA Wolves. The LA Wolves did go 11-3 with that questionability, including beating Beach City Bombers once. Tommy Hernandez having a great offensive season, and Steven, even in a season which was considered a little bit off for him, he still had a 473 average with a 607 on base percentage. So I mean, if that's considered an off season, I think a lot of people would love to have that off season. But when you set expectations for yourself and you have a season where you finish with a 629 batting average, that's the kind of stuff is going to be seen. So this is going 3 games no matter what, and I'm trying to think about it in my head. I'm just talking and trying to come up with a decision in my head because I'm genuinely not sure about this one.
Well, this
is I'll give a little spoiler. Actually, I don't even know if that's true, if my spoiler is true or not. But
I mean, I'll put a note in while you're thinking for a little bit. How about that? I mean, when Jordan was here on the podcast before the season started, he did mention times about trying to make these games really, really competitive, and here we are. We're stuck here between a decision. I mean, I was also kind of conflicted on where to go with this direction because of how competitive this matchup would be. We talked about it in the last episode. If Elios of OC were able to take on OC Wiffles of LA, I almost said the whole league.
You did say
Elios of OC versus OC Wiffle. Let's go. But it's very interesting because obviously we're here and now it's Beach City Bombers versus Elios of OC. I believe this is the first time both of these teams are playing each other in the semifinals or whatever the championship series before the World Series, rather. So this was also going to be very interesting just to see because we don't have a picture from before to kind of reference from. So I think it's kind of crazy the fact that we're both thinking this is going to be close no matter what.
Yeah, these two teams did play each other in the fall wildcard round. It was a 3 versus 6 matchup, and LOC ended up winning that one 10-0. But obviously, those were some different rosters. They obviously had Jordan with the LA Wolves, but you know what? You know what? I've come to a decision. I'm gonna live with it no matter what, and I'm gonna back myself. The LA Wolves are gonna win this one. Tommy Hernandez and Justin Lee will struggle for one game, which will give Beach City Bombers a win. However, I think. I think I've seen the bats of Beach City Bombers not be quite as good as they have been in the past. And I think I'm going to be able to figure something out as I did at the Lions game. I think I'm going to figure out something on the day, and even that first game, it was a very close game until there was a grand slam hit. So I think LOSC will take this one in 3 games, and they will move on to the World Series.
Awesome. Well, here we are then. The World Series once again for the third straight time in a row. The LA Wolves of OC taking on the Trash Pandas in the World Series. Obviously, LA Wolves of OC have had the benefit of the doubt, winning 2 World Series in a row, back to back. Obviously, the undefeated season from last year in the winter season. Here they are in the matchup once again. The third time, maybe it's Trash Panda's time to do something and put together a big one.
Jesus. Wow.
Sorry, was that brutally honest? My bad.
Wow. Oh my god. Sorry, yeah. Is you that Trash Pandas? Justin thinks you haven't done anything in the World Series.
Love you guys. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be too blunt there. It's gonna add some fuel to the fire. We better watch our backs. I should watch out my back. Anyways, so yeah, here we are. Obviously, LA Wolves of OC don't have a Jordan Drexler here, so the chances are actually a lot more even out now, I feel like, in regards to this. But I feel like the scales are slightly tilted more towards the Trash Pandas in this case. Just the fact that, the LA Wolves of OC haven't exactly found that second pitcher yet. And you talked about the inconsistency, like you called it in your prediction. Like potentially just myself and Tommy Hernandez will likely have some struggles on the pitching side of things. The Trash Pandas, they kind of do have a second pitcher, Mo Wright. Maybe his numbers hasn't been as, crazy as we've seen them the past couple seasons. That 7.11 ERA, 53 strikeouts. They could also go to guys like Ryan Swanson if they want to. They could go to Michael Haskell. But again, I mean, I could actually still see this going through, 3 games. I think it's going to be a slugfest also, just because, myself, I know personally, I'm not trying to call it anybody, but like getting a lot of home runs against this team, kind of says a lot.
How many home runs did you have last time against them?
I had 3.
That was the last time we played.
Oh, the last time. Yeah, okay, fine.
That's what I said.
Fine. Jeez. All right. Anyway, so, you know what? I'm going to be that guy.
Oh, my God.
Should I be that guy?
Oh, Jesus. Go ahead.
Let's go. 3 games. Going with the Trash Pandas for the first time in their franchise history, getting a World Series win. I think they have a good chance of doing it. They finally take one against the LA Wolves of OC, and they walk away victorious into the Irvine Sunset and get themselves the first plaque in franchise history for the Trash Pandas.
Oh, I thought you just said you were going to be that guy.
No, I'm going to be the guy against our guy.
Oh, you're going back to... so you're going back to a year ago. Okay. Which, yeah, by the way, we will just have passed the 1-year anniversary of the LOC winning winning their first World Series, first of 3, first of many, as I said on my Instagram, but we digress.
Yay.
Obviously, I get to say that because That Scuffed Up does sponsor the LOC, and hopefully there'll be some That Scuffed Up merch on some other Wolfos gear. We'll see. That's currently in the works right now. It's a little sneak peek. I'm trying to figure some stuff out. So you're picking Trash Pandas, and You told me you were going to be that guy, so you kind of made it easy for me to with my answer. But
No, you're gonna be that guy.
well, that's what you told me. That's what you said you were going to do.
I was trying to
So
throw.
I'm a little conflicted here.
I
I
was trying
mean,
to throw
obviously we have
people.
seen these two teams in the two previous World Series. LOSOC did sweep both of those ones in the fall and winter of 2023. The game twos, the game ones were not as close, but the game twos of each series were relatively close. Um, I believe in the fall was 6-5, and in the winter it was 6-2 or 7-2, something along those lines. But a big thing here is that the Trash Pandas do have the home field advantage for games 1 and 3 in this time, which they did not have in the previous two times. So I think that's going to be an interesting factor. But I think Trash Pandas walk away with game one as they did walk away with game the first time these two teams played each other. Uh, Actually, I should mention that. So these two teams obviously did play each other twice in the regular season. The first time it was 9-8 in favor of the Trash Pandas with no Stephen Hayden, and the second time it ended up being 11-4. That was the lone Trash Pandas loss we've had on the year was to the Ellisville C in week 6, and at one point it was even 11-2. So um, I've got the Ellisville C winning here in 3 games. I think. I think whoever wins, in my opinion, I think whoever wins that Ellie Wolfels Beach City Bombers series is going to win the World Series. Um, there's only been one team. I think it would be kind of poetic, regardless of who wins, whether Trash Pandas or Ellie Wolfels / Beach City Bombers win, because obviously the only one seed that's ever won the World Series was the Ellie Wolfels this previous season. So you could have the Ellie Wolfels potentially stopping the only other one seed from winning from winning the World Series, or you have Beach City Bombers taking their second World Series and Jordan taking his home as fourth and trying to catch up, and the Beach City Bombers trying to catch up with the other Wolfels and matching the Wise Guys and Trailer Park Boys for the tied for second most World Series. But I'm 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 going to predict that the other Wolfels do come back in games 2 and 3, and end up taking it out in 3 games. I think it's going to be a very good series between these two teams. I think Beach City Bombers could very easily be in this position instead of LA Wolfels, but um, that's what predictions are about. If I'm wrong, who cares? You can make fun of me all I want. I've been wrong plenty of times. I've been correct plenty of times. So it is what it is. But even without, I've got the Jordan Dressler less one in 3 games. Uh, Probably with an MVP, potentially Tommy getting his first what's it called the co MVP, and I could see Tommy and Steven taking these two home.
Okay. Okay. Epic
Just one
MVP.
of them even.
One of the. Okay. Then I guess in terms of my pick, it would probably be Blake Fitzgerald and Michael Haskell as co
Well,
World
if
Series
there is
MVPs.
there's not always a joint. I mean, we're the
Yeah.
only people that do joints apparently. So everyone else is just one person,
We like to be inclusive here, man. It's all good.
and most of the time they're not really. I mean, our MVPs aren't really announced. We just figure them out on our own. So sometimes they're announced, sometimes they're not. Such as for this, no, for our 3 World Series, no, they were not announced. But when you had the Summer World Series, it was announced as there was a World Series MVP. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, there you are. You got your picks now for the World
There I
Series
am.
for Division One, Division Two, Division in Purple League as well.
Vision Purple.
Division Purple, yes. So we'll see if Steven turns out to be 5-0 in terms of Division One predictions. And if you got any issues, go talk to HR, which is a trash can. So because we don't care what you think. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll see how reality turns out and what happens on Tuesday. And who ends up with a brand new trophy. Unless obviously the schedule does change, then we'll see what happens later, and then you guys will know on the podcast, or people will know on OC Whiffles,
Pancake.
on OC Whiffles Instagram. I can't speak words today. I don't know what's going on right now.
Put it on the pancake.
Pancast. Welcome to the Pancast. Anyways, we also we're just given the news that the awards will be announced on Monday as well, for OC football for this season. So we can also make those predictions as well for the award winners here. Purple League, we're doing this based off of last season. So Purple League does Female Player of the Year and Male Player of the Year, and then the Orange League also does Relief Pitcher, Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year, Silver Slugger, Hank Aaron, Cy Young, and MVP. So let's nominate our names for the award winners. These are just predictions.
Not your name, but
I hate you. Still waiting on one.
I'm on one today.
Like, what did I do, man? Like, what the heck?
All over you.
Cap. Anyways, let's nominate our predictions for the award winners. Obviously, these are predictions. These are not correct in whatsoever manner. We will know on what happens on Monday. We'll go over them on the next episode. Let's start off with the Purple League in Female Player of the Year. Steven, who do you got?
I mean, with the Purple League being 3 teams this season, it takes away some options. The previous season we had 5, and the season before that we had 4 teams to be able to pick some guys from, and girls as well, obviously, as there's you get a female and male player of the year. I think, in my opinion, I think we're for the female player of the year, I think we're going to be getting a repeat here. Previous female player of the year from the fall 2023 season, I think we're going to go with Katie Shinrock here. Had some good numbers on her, and obviously they went 7-3, tied for first. And when I look at it overall, I think that she is going to be given that award. As for my male player of the year, that one I think it might be a little bit trickier. However, I'm going to predict. I'll go ahead and predict a fellow D1 member, a player who has won multiple awards in the D1 level, in Tyler Moore himself. 636 average on the year, 15 home runs and 35 hits. Also has some decent pitching numbers. I mean, no one's going to have elite pitching numbers in Purple League because it's the Purple League. It's more meant for offense and things like that. But those are my predictions for the female player of the year and the male player of the year.
Okay, some good predictions there. So Katie Shinrock would be your pick, and then Tyler Moore would be your male player of the year, according to Steven. I'll do a little bit of some shout-outs. Aaron Patterson had a pretty good season offensively, over 500 batting average, 8 home runs, really nice numbers there, kind of competing with Shinrock in that department. The pitching side, though, not as great as Shinrock's, but I feel like Shinrock definitely deserves it because she both on the batting side and the pitching side was effective either way. So I would probably agree with you. A repeat winner there with Katie Shinrock being the Purple League Female Player of the Year, once again getting her second one in a row, which is fantastic. So and then the Male Player of the Year, you said Tyler Moore, right? I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to give him the benefit of doubt here, but I mean, obviously he had some really good numbers on the batting side. You already talked about that. Will Cantrell had some really nice numbers as well this season, but he didn't pitch, so that doesn't really help his case as much, in my opinion.
Yeah, plus Will just won the one for the winter 2023 season as well.
That's right. I also like Chad French's numbers as well. 468 batting average, same number of home runs as Tyler Moore, 15 in total, 29 hits, maybe not as much as Tyler Moore, but we also kind of saw him as a potential candidate for making an appearance in Division One. He was also a candidate for potentially being on the LA Wolves of OC team or OC Wolves of LA team if you wanted that option.
Yeah,
I'm sure we brought it up at some point, right? Didn't pitch as much, though, unfortunately. So it doesn't really help too much either. And I like to usually pick guys who are very versatile on both sides of the ball. Um, in terms of hitting and pitching, because we've made that decision many times before. Obviously, you've won an MVP for being really good on both sides of the ball, hitting and pitching. Um, you know what? You win this one, Tyler. I'm sorry, man. Male Player of the Year, Tyler Moore. It's just the batting and the pitching, man. I think that's just really what it comes down to. So Tyler Moore, I would agree with you here. Male Player of the Year. So both in agreement here. Kate Shinrock, Female Player of the Year, and Tyler Moore, Purple League Male Player of the Year.
I think Adrian Garcia is in that shout as well for Male Player of the Year. I had some very good numbers on him as well. Did pitch a good amount as well for the team. So we'll see.
All right. We shall see indeed what happens on Monday with the Purple League. Moving on now to the Orange League. So let's start off with the relief pitcher of the year in this regards. We talked about David Quiros earlier, which was an interesting pick because obviously he kind of showed out this season in terms of, his ERA 5.82, big improvement from last year. 34 strikeouts, more innings pitched than Ethan Lee, who's been known to pitch more for this team. Hasn't really been there as much, so they kind of trusted it to David Quiros, put it into his hands. He has been improving ever since. In terms of other people that also show up here, maybe potentially Tyler Moore again. That could be another pick there. Charlie Phillips could also be considered relief pitcher of the year as well in that regards. Who else would be a candidate, you think, Steven?
I think those are the three main candidates right there, to be honest.
Okay. So yeah, let's pick amongst. I think the favorite here, in my opinion, I feel like would be David Quiros. Just the fact that he's come from a season where he's been in the learning process. He's been practicing on the side. Kind of came in here. The Osweiler of LA were looking for some really consistent pitching, and I think they finally found that with a guy like David Quiros. Obviously he didn't. In this recent game, he didn't fare as much against the Elios of OC, but he's kind of really improved immensely over the course of this season. I could imagine him getting this award for Relief Pitcher of the Year.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my pick as well. Not just for the numbers, the improved numbers, and the pitching innings have gone up, but also for the impact it's had on that team. I mean, OC Wolves were sitting in second place at one point and were clear by game and a half because, obviously James Lee would do his thing on the mound, and Cy Young winner last season. Obviously, he doesn't have the same ERA as he did the previous season, but still was extremely hard to hit out there. But then you had situations where Ethan Lee would struggle on the mound, and oftentimes David would kind of be put in a tough spot. This time, David was put in the inning into the game right away, and when James wasn't pitching, and it showed. They were second. They're in second place very clearly at one point. I think he's improved a lot, and I think for that impact and things like that, I think David Quiros should be the relief pitcher of the year, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, there you go. David Quiros, the front runner for this OC Wolves of LA team, getting some well-deserved awards here. We'll see what happens on Monday, who the relief pitcher of the season will be. Moving on now to the rookie of the year. I believe last season it was Joel Gonzalez that got rookie of the year. Some of those potential candidates, it's kind of interesting because Tommy Hernandez is a candidate here, but he's also in the running for some really big awards as well with the numbers that he's got. Obviously, this is his first season as well. There's a lot of familiar faces as well in Division 1, or the Orange League, I should say. Amongst all these teams, we didn't really see too many new faces unless we're talking about the Pitchers Gone Wild, because obviously they're a newer team this season. You could possibly potentially put in Dylan putting Sorrow in there with a 300 batting average, 6 home runs. Um, his no pitching numbers present whatsoever. Um, but yeah, there's not a big pool of rookie of the year players from this season that we could really pick out from. I mean, what do you think, Steven?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a. It's pretty much the pitchers gone wild, guys. I mean, maybe so you got an OC juicer in there. There's something that's new, but as far as I know, that's not the case. I think possibly Dylan would be your best bets, but we'll see what happens. Or maybe this is a year you just don't do that award. I'm not totally sure what's going to happen. I think it'll be good to see that award handed out, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if Tommy Hernandez somehow doesn't get an award, I think he's obviously going to be a lock for Rookie of the Year if that comes down to that. But
Oh yeah, of course.
yeah, I believe it won't be like that.
I don't think
So
that'll be the situation though.
yeah, so I guess my front runner would probably be somebody from the Pitches Gone Well, but it'd probably be Dylan putting Sorrow if that becomes the award that they hand out here.
We'll see.
Okay, I guess we're moving on.
Well,
got-
did you not want to?
Well, I don't know if you had a pick, right? Are you going with Dylan too?
I mean, as I said, that's kind of your best bet right now.
Okay. Well, there we go. Dylan Pinning Sorrow. Now moving on to Manager of the Year. Last season it was Lucas Sardo, right? For Manager of
Yep.
the Year. Obviously representing the Avocabros here. Some potential candidates in particular for this award. Steven, you've won it before. You've also have some awards for Manager of the Year. You could be a potential candidate for managing a team that doesn't have a second pitcher, dealing with a newer player like Hernandez or Tommy Hernandez there. I guess Tyler Moore could be a potential Manager of the Year candidate as well, dealing with a guy like Jordan Drexler. Because he's volatile. I'm just kidding. Could potentially be also the Trash Pandas as well. You talk about that team and what they've had to go through, getting back to this spot once again. In the playoffs again, trying to get an award for themselves. I feel like those are probably the front runners in terms of Manager of the Year. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think those guys are the front runners in general. For manager of the years, it can be a tricky one. It's kind of a tricky one to predict. It's not fully based on like how your team does. It's also a lot of like stuff within the league and things like that. We just had Andrew Swanson win it recently for Trash Pandas as Lucas started for the Avocado, so probably not them. Or actually, and Tyler Moore even in the summer 2022 won it as well. So probably not those guys. I know Donald's a previous winner of it. You could see a guy like Nicholas Tone possibly win it for the OC Juicers. You could possibly see like Stephen Hayden in there or Ethan Lee / James Lee for the OC Wolves of LA. This one's a tough one to predict. I'm not really sure if this is one we should predict. I think this is one we should probably just wait more and kind of see what happens. But there are a few captains in there who I think could be deserving. I think the main two, in my opinion, would be Nicholas Tone of the OC Juicers. I believe he's the captain. I'm pretty sure. And then the other one would be Stephen Hayden of the Wolfles of OC. But we'll see.
All right. Let's move on then to the Silver Slugger Award for the OC Wiffle Ball League. This one's an interesting particular because we were watching a very close race between two really good athletes in Michael Haskip and Tommy Hernandez. Obviously, those two are the two front runners right now. Michael Haskip with a 1.398 slugging overall, and Tommy Hernandez right behind him with a 1.300 slugging. Obviously, Tommy Hernandez got the lead in the home run department there, but I believe Michael Haskip has no, never mind. Tommy Hernandez has more hits. How about that?
Well, Michael Haskip does have a better batting average and on-base percentage than Tommy does.
That is true, which is also what kind of ties into the Hank Aaron Award, because we also use that for the best overall hitter. Obviously, you have won that award as well in your past. Those are basically pretty much
Both of them.
the two front runners there. Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, both of them. You've got too many awards on yourself, man.
We're not going into this again.
James Lee is also an interesting candidate as well because he has a slugging of 1.286 as well, just right behind those top two players right there. But I imagine probably it's the exchange with the Hank Aaron Award and the Silver Slugger is probably between Tommy Hernandez and Michael Haskell there.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, we could just combine both of these and predict them at the same time. But I'd say the main four best hitters in terms of like numbers and average and stuff. You got to look at guys like Tommy Hernandez and Michael Haskell, obviously, and then James Lee, and then I think a guy who maybe seen as he had a down season, but still had a very good season was Stephen Hayden. He did have a 473 average, which is it's fifth in the league. Or is it? Yeah, it's fifth in the league. Yeah, James Lee third at 476. Tyler Moore with fourth with a 474, but he had a little less at bats than Steven did. So and then more hits and things like that as well. And then Steven was fifth with a 473. That's some good numbers overall, even though it wasn't quite the 629 average like we saw in the summer 2023 season and things like that, but. I mean, might as well just do both of them at the same time. I think there are two guys in there. Have some potential MVP shouts, but for me, neither one of them will be the MVP based off their pitching numbers. For Silver Slugger, I've got Tommy Hernandez in there. Did take that lead in home runs. He does have 50 hits on the year overall, and usually Silver Slugger is given to that guy as slightly more power. Whereas Hank Aaron, you give it like to the best overall hitter of the season. Which to me was Michael Haskell. He had some just insane numbers hitting wise, a 518 average, a 612 on base percentage, 23 home runs for him, 43 total hits, and 103 at bats. He had 14 less at bats and only 7 less hits on the season. So very nicely done for Michael Haskell on this regular season, and so that's what I got for those two awards.
Okay. I think I also kind of have the same, basically in that order, with Tommy Hernandez getting the Silver Slugger because he earned it with that home run lead in the regular season, and then Michael Haskell just right there with the Hank Aaron Award as well. So, obviously both of them get an award here for, those insane numbers like you just talked about. So I think that's very fitting for, those two best of the best in terms of hitting wise, which is crazy to think about Tommy Hernandez walking in here first season, getting those kind of numbers, and really surprising, I think, a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. Tommy just stepped in right away into the league and has had a great start. And Michael Haskell really had a breakout season this year, so I think both those guys are very deserving of both these awards. But that leaves us with 2 awards left.
Yes, indeed. The first one of those is the Cy Young Award winner. Obviously, you have won a Cy Young Award, correct?
Nope.
No. Oh,
That's
okay.
like the one award I have. I've never won a pitching award in this league. I've never done that before in this league.
Well, definitely one of those potential candidates as well. 3.95 ERA on the season, 41 innings pitched, 94 Ks this season. Definitely up there as well as one of those fine line candidates. James Lee is probably right up there as well. 108 Ks this season. Maybe not the best ERA, but a 6.33 right there in terms of the pitching wise. I think the clear front runner is probably a guy like Jordan Drexler, who's also had a really nice season this year. Sub 2 ERA. He's almost sub 1 ERA this season. Kind of stepped into that role. Maybe not the highest strikeout numbers, right? 81 overall. Obviously, the leader in the strikeout department is Blake Fitzgerald with a 2.61 ERA, 110 strikeouts on the season. So probably between those two in regards of where we're talking about in the Cy Young Award race.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these awards are pretty close. The Silver Slugger and Hank Aaron were not as close based off the performances, but stuff like the Cy Young and the MVP, which we'll get into after this, are very close. And it's a thing to watch out for in terms of the Cy Young and MVP. You want to have the same person winning multiple awards. So It is tough to try to figure that one out, but for me for the Cy Young, it's an interesting one for sure. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I mean, I mean, the thing is, it also affects your MVP pick as well. Because you look at like James Lee, who didn't have his best pitching numbers after winning the Cy Young last season, but had some great hitting numbers and could potentially be in there for that MVP. Whereas Blake Fitzgerald has done very well on both sides, and they had a great seed. But I'm going to choose. I'm going to pick for this one. I'm going to pick Jordan Dressler. He actually improved on his ERA from the previous season. He had the same number of runs allowed as last season, but also pitched 4 more innings than he did in his MVP season in the winter 2023 season. And I want to look this, and I'm going to try to look this up because I used to have a picture of this. I believe he had. I'm not sure. I'm trying to see what his K per nine is compared to the previous season. I'm trying to find it. Here it is. Um, as I restore this from the trash of my computer.
I
If
mean,
it'll ever load here.
as you should, right? You know, he's not on the team anymore.
The past. I mean, it's not just his pitching stats, but everyone's pitching stats. But especially yours with that 1 inning pitched. But yeah. Jordan's strikeouts went. He was at 65 strikeouts last year, compared to 81 this year. He's at a K through 9 of 14.46. Whereas the previous season, his K through 9 was at 13.45. So I believe Jordan should be given this one. And that may tell you a little bit about who I think will be the MVP as we move along here.
Okay, indeed. Let's talk about the MVP in particular then.
Who's your Cy Young?
Oh, that's right.
We're doing a show here, lad. You're supposed to give your predictions.
Because like you said, it also kind of affects my pick for an MVP here. But you know what? I like the Blake Fitzgerald department here. We talked about that ERA, that low ERA, highest number of strikeouts this season. That K per nine is ridiculous at 15.14 this season in 43 innings pitched. Obviously, what's holding that team together is because of the fact that Blake is always dominant on that pitching side. Obviously Jordan had a really good season this year, but I'm gonna pick a different guy for the Cy Young Award, and I'm gonna pick Blake Fitzgerald to be that guy.
All right, interesting. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not.
Yes,
And then finally, final award of the night, we have the MVP coming up here. An award that I'm not going to pull it down from the above me, but
do it.
an award that Jordan Dressler what?
What?
Said I'm not going to pull my MVP awards from down above me for my back-to-back MVP awards, by the way. But
do it. I'm just kidding.
Jordan Dressler is currently the defending MVP. You have some good candidates in there, like a Blake Fitzgerald, a Tom Hernandez, a Michael Haskell, a Stephen Hayden, a James Lee. Justin, who is your pick overall for MVP?
I like Jordan Drexler here, not for the MVP, but just like you talked about the MVP.
You just like him in general?
I like him in general. He's a nice guy.
Aww. Do you miss him?
Yes. Come back, please. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow, tampering.
Jordan Drexler, obviously, we talked about. You just mentioned that he was MVP last season for good reason. Obviously, the hitting hasn't been, just as good as he had last season. You talked about him being that front runner for the Cy Young Award, which I think is extremely fitting here. We've gone over it a bunch of times in this show about how do we pick the MVP, or how it should be picked, right? Is about the best overall player on pitching and hitting, which is a reason why you have one on your shelf for that reason, for both sides of it. I mean, James Lee had a really good season this year, 16 home runs, 476 average. One of the better hitters. Obviously, the pitching stuff wasn't exactly there. In particular, he's had some people have been starting to see him a little better this season, but he's still dominant regardless of what the numbers say. I feel like he's right there in this race for the MVP. I already picked Blake Fitzgerald though, unfortunately for the Cy Young, because I also think he's also a front runner here. He's been the front runner a few times as well in the MVP conversation. So because of that, I am going to go ahead and pick James Lee for the MVP as the MVP for the 2024 spring season because of the fact that he, may not have been a dominant on both sides of the on one side of the ball, but he's dominant on both sides no matter which position you put him.
And obviously, the OC Wolves had a much better season than they've had in the past. They made it into the D1 playoffs. They were the 2 seed for a while. I think James is a very good candidate for that, or just for an award in general. I think his hitting numbers were just slight. I mean, they couldn't quite be highlighted as much because of guys like Michael Haskip and Tommy Hernandez, but he still had a very good hitting season overall. We all know what kind of pitcher he is, even if the numbers did go up a little bit. We kind of messed those up in the last game of the regular season, so sorry about that, James. But as I noted, I did not put Blake Fitzgerald for my Cy Young because I believe based off the numbers and the Trash Pandas, they just went 13-1 on the year. They had their best regular season. They're one game away from a perfect regular season, something that's only been done twice in this league previously, but they didn't do it, obviously. The Trash Pandas did not. I'm going to pick Blake Fitzgerald for my MVP. Obviously, his pitching numbers are great. He would be my Cy Young if it were not for this MVP vote. A 2.61 ERA, 43 and 2/3 innings pitched, 110 strikeouts, only 19 runs allowed on the whole inning, and a K through 9 of 15.14. And then his hitting numbers are pretty nice as well. A 447 average, a 604 on base percentage, which is second on their team, just behind Michael Haskett for on base percentage. 14 home runs on the year, only gone out 42 times in 106 at bats. I believe James is a close second place, and even a guy like Steven Hayden will be in third. Guys like Steven Hayden, Tommy Hernandez, and Michael Haskell will be like third, fourth, fifth, somewhere around there, whatever order you want to say. But I believe based off those numbers and based off how the Trash Pandas finished and had their best season, I believe Blake Fitzgerald will win the MVP.
That's a fair argument. Yeah, I mean, the same thing here. If James Lee isn't my candidate for MVP, if Blake Fitzgerald isn't the candidate for Cy Young, then I would also probably agree with you that Blake Fitzgerald definitely deserves that MVP award just based off, how dominant he is on both sides of the ball. Even though he may not be the best on one side of the ball, but he can be probably dominant on both sides because we value two-sidedness here in this league. So it definitely makes sense. All right, well, that is all of our predictions for the award winners. You've heard our predictions for the playoffs. We've kind of thrown everything at you. In this part of the podcast, we would probably end it here. But because of the interesting scheduling of the All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby, we're filming this on a Saturday, which is the day after this is recording. We're supposed to do the Home Run Derby / All-Star Game. So we're kind of in the past right now. You'll see a cut after we talk about this. And that's when you'll know when that has happened. And we'll go to kind of recap everything that happens in that game and the Home Run Derby. But we thought it'd be fun to do just predicting who would be the Home Run Derby champion and the All-Star Game MVP. That's been happening on the Sunday in the morning after the first one was delayed 2 weeks prior because of rain, and we had to move it around. So no rain in the forecast, which is a great thing. So let's get right into it. Obviously, Home Run Derby champion has been Jordan Drexler the past 2 seasons. He interestingly did not show up to the first time we tried to do this attempt at the Home Run Derby, so he's got a chance to redeem himself if he wants to show up and defend that title here. But we can also make that prediction as well in terms of the Home Run Derby. So, Steven, who do you think, out of the people who are potentially showing up to the Home Run Derby, who would be your guy to win the Home Run Derby, unless it's Jordan Drexler again?
Well, this is a little bit more of a fun part, kind of like any weird wacky predictions you have, or if you just want to be basic and boring and things like that. I think for me overall, I believe obviously Jordan was a member of the LA Wolves of OC when he won those previous awards. I believe we're going to get another LA Wolves. I believe my wacky prediction is we will get another LA Wolves of OC winner for this home run derby. Whether it be Tommy or Justin or Steven, my prediction is that one of those three will be winning the home run derby and dethroning Jordan Drexler if he's there, or if he's not there, obviously he will be dethroned. But well, I mean, Tommy's obviously hit a lot of home runs on the year. Justin's there, and then and then I won. I've showed my trophy before for my home run derby win, which was nice because also had some cash involved and things like that. But that's my wacky prediction for the home run derby.
Okay, I'm gonna be a little bit more analytical here, based off of just what we've seen in the season. I think Tommy Hernandez has been one of the more consistent hitters this season. We talked about that batting average being a flat 500. He sees the ball extremely well. If he finds a really good pitcher, which I'm assuming it will be you, pitching to him, so I would imagine.
Lead pitcher.
Yeah, depending on also if the wind is blowing that direction too. I also kind of imagine Tommy Hernandez would be the guy to dethrone Jordan Drexler in this case for the home run derby. So that's my wacky prediction for the home run derby champ.
Boo. I'm putting guys like Justin Lee as a chance to possibly win. Like, that's pretty wacky.
You choosing me is the dumbest move you could possibly make.
That's what I thought about you choosing yourself for the World Series MVP, and like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, we decided to be nice to you and things like that.
Wow, that's messed up, man. I actually did something great for once, I thought.
Well, it's not the first time I've made that joke on the podcast, so
True.
we're just recycling old material here.
You're supposed to say, "Good job, buddy. Congratulations." Okay, we're
All right, now
I'll
you're
stop.
writing your jokes yourself. I'm not gonna say it anymore.
I'm providing you with ammo here, man.
Exactly.
Well, let's also mention the All-Star Game MVP then. Obviously, last season it was me who got All-Star Game MVP.
It doesn't count.
He's just joking.
No one cares.
He's just joking. He's just jealous.
You want to see a real All-Star Game MVP award? I'll show you right here since you said that.
Bruh.
Yeah, that's what we do right here. That's a real one.
I got my... I'm not going to pull it up anyways. I've already shown it too many times.
Here's this plastic. Mine is class.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
I can break this right now if I want to.
Why don't you do it?
Because I don't feel like it.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Do you want to buy me a new one?
No.
Exactly.
You just go win yourself another one. Well, let's...
Is that your prediction?
No. If it'll be my prediction if you break it right now on the broadcast. Okay, never mind.
Is that your prediction? Is that that I'm going to win? You
No.
know, actually, technically, we were both defending our All-Star Game MVPs right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I have not been able to go to an All-Star Game since I won that one.
Oh yeah, that's actually very true.
We had the fall All-Star Game. I was in York, Pennsylvania for the World Championships, and then the winter one I couldn't go either because of family reasons.
That's right.
So I'm technically trying to defend my All-Star Game MVP.
Oh, okay.
I'm also trying to improve my winning record to 2-4 instead of 1-4.
Yeah, that's right. You did get your first win last summer, which is
That's what we do.
Well, All-Star Game MVP, it was great because we also had more people than just the LA Wolves / OC Wolves of LA teams out there. Last time that we saw, so there's definitely some people who are also in the runner-up here. Tyler Moore was actually an All-Star Game MVP a few seasons back as well. For his performance.
Was he?
Right? I don't know. Was that... Maybe not. Never mind.
No, that's not correct.
No, okay, never mind. He was definitely in contention. I think that was probably what I was thinking of then. What else? I mean, you know what? Screw it. I'm going wacky here. Myself again.
Oh my god. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, let's give it to someone who doesn't pitch.
Wait, hey, I
Oh
might
my
pitch this
god.
season now that I'm pitching. So,
You're on my team. I sure hope not.
wow, messed up.
We'll see. Here's a wacky one. We'll go with a repeat winner here. Anthony Agrusa.
Oh, okay.
That's a wacky prediction right there.
He did hit 4 home runs in the last All Star game as well, so he's got a good chance.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I like
he's,
it.
he was the only non-LA Wolves of OC player there last time.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. He was the only
It's like
other.
I know for sure he's going to be there. Well, we'll see what happens. If he pitches good, we'll see what happens out there. Or he can just keep hitting. I'm hoping this will be a lower scoring one. I hope we can actually get a full 6 innings in, but we'll see based off of the. We'll see who's able to pitch good because last time I was really the only guy to pitch good.
Yeah, and also the wind becomes that factor like it always does in the game because it was good, dude. I mean, it was blowing the last time we tried doing this, and it was like getting crazy. And then you actually figured it out, which is another
Yeah,
thing.
because I know what I'm doing.
All right, man. Welcome back, everybody. We are back here on the podcast, finishing off episode 45. We just came back. We're recording on a Sunday, like past Justin was talking about. We just finished the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby, and we have crowned a new MVP for the All-Star game and a new Home Run Derby champion as well for this beautiful Sunday. Very nice day indeed as well. No wind, no rain. Almost perfectly sunny, not too cold. We actually played on a different part of the field, but we're going to kind of just go overview of what happened exactly for today's Home Run Derby and for the All-Star game as well. Steven, any initial thoughts that you had?
I mean, we ended up having. I mean, we had more than 6 people out here this time. We doubled our number with 12. So it was a decent day out there. It's been a long day for me. So I'm not just get going.
Okay, let's get going then. Obviously, we are knocking a lot of stuff out because we've had to do this for 2 days straight. Got the playoffs coming around the corner. We got to do episode 46 coming down the road, so that's be coming up throughout the week. Like before, playoffs start on Monday, and then Tuesday will be for the World Series if that is the case that happens. But let's get right into the Home Run Derby. Like you said, 12 participants all in total. Jordan Drexler indeed did show up to this one, which is great. He almost missed the initial one, which we had set for 2 weeks ago. So he was here. He was present. Unfortunately, was not the guy throughout much of the Home Run Derby as well. We had a lot of the guys. I started off the day, got 11 home runs in the first round, felt pretty good. But obviously that was kind of the tone setter. Everyone started hitting 11 home runs or plus for the most part. I believe the highest was I think it was either between Tommy or I feel like I'm forgetting someone here, but there was a lot of high scoring rounds for some of these.
Yeah. I mean, it just varies on the year. Sometimes there's some rounds. Sometimes you only need like 8 or so to move on. Sometimes you need like 4. Sometimes you need more. So I think the cutoff this year was 12. There were a couple people with 12, a couple people with 14, and then Tommy had 18 that first round. Jordan Dressler, he struggled out there and even tried to leave with 15 seconds left. Not his year this year. Couldn't tell you why. It was not his year.
Yeah, he kind of walked out from before the timer was going down. I think everybody was kind of confused. I was a little confused too. I was like, it's like, why is he stepping out? There's no breaks in between there. Later on, I asked him. He said he had no idea that he had 15 seconds left, and he said, screw it. So, yeah, like you said, not his year this year, I guess. Gave up the Home Run Derby crown, and pretty much came down to what it was in the final rounds. We came all the way down to 2 different guys on the same exact team. Your boy Steven
Wow,
Hayden.
it's like someone predicted this.
Okay. your boy Stephen Hayden and, of course, Tommy Hernandez, who would be facing off of each other in the final round, with Tommy Hernandez going first in this round, and then it would be Stephen right after. Let me just put it out there that this may have been one of the most highest home run hitting rounds we've ever seen in a home run derby, I believe. As far as I understand, or when I've seen the home run derbies, the magic number was 31 for Tommy's final round. Really set the tone, put the bar up high, and he was the first guy to go. And so a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure was on the line for a guy like Stephen Hayden, who previously has won a home run derby, like we saw in the last part of this podcast with that big giant trophy. If you haven't seen that, he could pull it out right now or later, but if you want to check it out, it's also in the other episodes if you watch the
I don't want to pull it
podcast.
out right now.
Okay. But I think it was kind of said and spoken that I think we have a new winner in terms of the home run derby, which is indeed the man, Tommy Hernandez. Obviously, the regular season home run leader for this spring 2024 season. No better way to cap it off with a home run derby bat to go with the amount of home runs that he hit this regular season, even more than he did in the regular season, which is crazy. But he was dicing it. He was definitely dicing it up with the bat today.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was in first place after the first round. The second round, he barely snuck his way into second place. He needed to hit his the last three pitches for home runs. To beat Ethan Raffman, who at that point Ethan Raffman was in second place at 19 home runs. So Tommy hit three in a row, hit the last one at the buzzer, ended up getting up to 20, which ended up still putting him first because Steve was at 23 for that second round. And you see it a lot of times in this home run derbies where you have the guy who just barely made it into that final. Continue, they go first and they continue on. They continue to hit well, and it's like got to a point where Tommy had like 8 to 10 in a row. It's like I pretty much knew I had no chance, but I did what I could with this blister just developing more and more in my hand. I did about all I could there, but I knew I had no chance here.
Yeah, and I mean, it is still nice though. You get the same guy and the same team. Obviously, the Eloise of OC, they've basically had players represent in the home run derby. They've won it twice with Jordan in there, and then you've had now Tommy Hernandez is the new champion of the home run derby, and he will get a chance to do that in the summer season to defend that title. Indeed, so for Tommy Hernandez. So congratulations, Tommy Hernandez. Big final round there, finishing off the regular season with a big number in home runs, and then obviously getting this crown as well, which is very nice. So usually what we've seen is the home run derby champ repeats, so who knows? Maybe he might repeat when he returns next season. So another storyline to look out for. But again, congratulations, Tom Hernandez.
Nah.
On a great award. I think that was your prediction, wasn't it?
I think the bigger storyline is the fact that, well, as I was saying, I think the bigger storyline is the fact that this is exactly what I predicted.
There you go. For good reason, too.
I don't know. I don't remember your prediction in the first part, but I literally said it's going to be an Ellisville C member, and the final came down to two Ellisville C members. And if it were Ethan Raffman in the final, or if Ethan Raffman would have won, I would have still claimed it. So it's what it is.
Yes, sir. It is what it is. I think I predicted myself, which was a stupid idea again.
Yeah, you do that a lot, don't you? I think you did for the All-Star Game MVP as well.
I think so. Yeah. Just lately, man. I'm just trying to be a little confident here. Let me have something in my life. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the All-Star game. We've got two teams here selected by the commissioner himself in Anthony Agrusa, who would be selecting the teams here. It was Tommy Hernandez, the captain for He Is Risen, and Stephen Hayden as the captain for the other team, who was known as the Otani's Bookies, which is or Otani's Bookie, not Bookies, which is some great name choices there. Obviously, Tommy Hernandez had He had myself, or he had me, Justin. He had I believe Joel Gonzalez. Joel Gonzalez was on there. Tyler Moore, Jordan Drexler. Who else am I forgetting? I think that was it, right? And then your team, you had
Yeah, yours was Justin, Jordan, Tyler, um,
oh
Rathman.
Rathman. That's right.
Yeah, was that six? Was that six? Did you say five others or?
Joel Gonzalez. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You, Tyler, Jordan, Joel, uh, uh,
Rathman.
Rathman, and Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your team was Anthony Grusa, yourself, Ethan Lee, um, uh, who else? James Lee was on there. Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the other guy? We're drawing a blank here. Beach City Bombers, man. All right,
Charlie.
Charlie, that's right. Um, and yeah,
You
so
just
that,
forget the teams.
dude, it's been a long day, man. Jeez, there's a little bit. Welcome to the adult life. Anyways, so yeah, those are your teams there. He is risen and Otani's bookies. Otani's bookie actually ended up winning the behind the back rock paper scissors battle with Steven taking the dub there, so they would take the home field advantage. And
Yeah, we win those.
started off with the he is risen with the away team. So they started off the day. Steven clearly struck out the side on the in the first top of the first inning there.
No.
Mostly outs too and
It
strikes.
was a 1-2-3 inning, but it was not a strikeout the side inning.
Oh, I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt there. It's
I'm,
fine.
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to give some honesty to the people here.
To the people.
It was a ground ball, a strikeout. Yeah, we don't want to talk about your first at bat, do we?
No thanks. But yeah, this was actually a pretty entertaining game for the most part. We
Yeah.
saw a lot of different pitchers in there. We also saw a lot of different strikeouts, indeed. So a lot of bombs in this game as well. Tyler Moore had one. I know James Lee had a big home run. I had two. Jordan Drexler also had a big home run. We got some nice catches out there. We saw Tommy Hernandez reach out for a long one. We also saw one of the most insane one-handed grabbers I think we've seen in the outfield in a while, with Joel Gonzalez getting a nice little grab for himself as well. I believe Joel Gonzalez was also like 5 for 5 on the day or something like that on the hitting side of things. But it was always with these All Star games. It's always very entertaining. There's a lot of hits. There's a lot of big runs, and that's kind of usually what just happens when you put all these big stars together on a team like this to play each other. And personally, I definitely think I had a lot of fun playing this one. Steven definitely seemed like he had a lot of fun too. What were your thoughts overall about the All Star game and how it went especially with having more people this time around?
Well, it was good until my ankle got clipped when I was trying to catch a ball. Uh, I had a couple I went down for if Ethan Lee. Remembered how to play defense, we would have made some more stops. But uh, overall, it was good. It was. I mean, I had plenty of people trying to go out, trying to go after me and stuff like that, and try to just make fun of me and stuff. But I couldn't do much because I got a real bad blister on my hand after while I was swinging through that first game. But so I mean through the home run derby, so I didn't really feel comfortable swinging real much when I was in during the game and things like that. But overall, it was good. I mean, everyone on my team, all the main pitchers on my team, got at least a chance to pitch a full inning and pitch a full and do a full inning and stuff like that. We didn't see that as much on the other side. We kind of saw mainly Jordan and Tyler pitch with a little bit of mixing, like you get like an out from Justin and out from Ethan Rathman. So it's like okay, now we I think we can see one side took it like a little bit more seriously, trying to win and stuff, and versus giving everyone a chance and things like that. But Overall was not too shabby.
Yeah, I think it was a good day overall. The final score here was actually 14-6, with the He Is Risen taking the win on this one. Uh, Obviously, Steven already has a win in terms of All Star games, but here we are. I think Tommy was managing a little bit more seriously. That was for sure. With this taken in, it's his first time too, so nothing.
Yeah, I was just trying to give everybody a chance. Have some fun with it, and give people a chance to pitch who wanted to pitch. Besides Ethan Lee, so
Now he says it.
that was something
Damn.
I had already talked to him. Everyone else on everyone else on our team got a chance to pitch at least one inning. That yeah, I mean we didn't see that for the other side, but uh, I value getting guys the opportunity to play, and if it means we lose, then that means we lose. I'm totally fine with that. If the other team does not want to do that, if they want to try to go try hard, so that's fine with me.
I won't comment on that. I'm just here to have fun. I think that's kind of the overall theme that we're trying to go for with the All Star games is trying to have fun and go out there and just play some ball on a Sunday. That's it at the beach. Very nice day out as well. So it was I think it was a really nice one out there. We had the obviously the MVP for the All Star game being hand selected by none other than the commissioner himself after overlooking the stats. We had a lot of different candidates for the All Star MVP. I already talked about some of the features that were on there, but ultimately it seemed like the guy who was the most outstanding in this game was the man from the OC Juicers who got Rookie of the Year last year, in Joel Gonzalez for the OC Juicers, getting this All Star MVP. Had a very nice day on the offensive side. Maybe not a lot of bombs, but definitely was hitting the ball well. Had that really sick catch out in the outfield off of the bat of Ethan Lee, I believe it was, with a line drive home run to center. Had himself a really nice day. So congratulations, Joel Gonzalez, All Star MVP, my main.
Yeah, congratulations to him. We'll see if he can carry that momentum into the playoffs tomorrow or whenever this podcast goes. Let's go into Monday. I know they got to take on Woosh, so we'll see. We'll see how what that leads to.
Yeah, it's also very nice because obviously we talked about in the previous part just the factor of Joel Gonzalez even being present. He's a big force on the field when he's there for the OC Juicers, and he's going to be extremely important when it comes to these playoffs, for a guy like that. And this probably definitely puts the league on notice for a guy like Joel Gonzalez, because of the talent that he has. And I think a lot of guys recognize that he has the ability to play some really, really solid defense out there, not just on top of, improving on the pitching side and also just being an overall a pretty decent hitter, and if not, maybe an even better hitter in this league. So he might be around to stay. So that'd be great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he got knocked out in the first round of the home run derby as well, but he's able to come back and get this one. So, uh, no, we get to see some different winners, some guys you possibly wouldn't expect to win MVP based off the regular season stuff, especially these last few seasons. The fall season we had David Uribe, from I forget the name of the team he was on at the 44s, the 46ers, something like that. Back in the fall season. You have Joel here, and then the most random one of all, you have Justin Lee winning in the winter 2023 season. So sometimes you get some different looks with certain people there and certain people not there.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Well, that kind of does it though for the All Star game and the Home Run Derby. A little bit shorter of a segment there. Obviously, we touch on those games because they're always fun. They're a fun bunch to kind of talk about because we always have these. A little bit different this year because of just the delay and the rain out. We had to push it back 2 weeks, and this game being right before the playoffs. So who knows? We could talk about all day about whether that factors into being prepared for the All Star game, whether that helps people or whether that may be detrimental to how they play tomorrow. Because obviously, a lot of other people, especially a few that I know that were at the All Star game, have to play some games, do some wiffle ball or whatever baseball, whatever activities they're into, and then they got to come tomorrow and be ready with their A game for the playoffs, which is happening literally on this Monday. And then if you make it to Tuesday, then got to play even more games. So there's a big potential here for a lot of these teams to be playing 6 games in total this upcoming week.
Yeah, we will see. We will see what happens here. Good luck to all the teams. So we made our predictions already earlier in the podcast. So good luck to everyone coming out.
Sounds good. I think that's a good note to end on. Good luck to everybody once again in the playoffs. Hopefully we'll get back on here on the podcast, get some special guests as well. Most likely people who are on the winning teams we get on here to interview, like we always do, and you guys will get all the storylines from that. So stay tuned for that in episode 46. But looks like that should do it for myself, Justin Lee, and Stephen Hayden here for episode 45 on That Scuffed Up. So we shall see you on the field on Monday, unless you're in the Purple League. We'll see you on Tuesday. And let's get right and spring into the playoffs. Thank you, and have a great day.